Welcome to the channel, everyone. Or welcome back if you've been here before. Today we're going to be looking at a little tune by It's Not For Radio called Swan. So this is a request on one of my previous videos, and it's a great request. It's a really nice tune. It's got a really beautiful piano part, so we're going to go through that together. Now, if you watched my previous tutorial, I'm sorry about the situation there. The setup was not ideal. I am working on a cruise ship right now, so I don't have a lot of options. So I'm trying this. It's a little bit better, slightly better lighting, and altogether better, although there's people out there talking, slamming doors. Hello.
Where's Swan area?
Yeah, a lot of hopefully this setup is a little bit better. Hopefully, the lighting's a little better. I've got the MIDI connected so we can kind of see what I'm playing as I play it, hopefully. Unfortunately, I don't have a sustain pedal, which is not ideal for the song because it is quite sustained. I can't hear what I'm playing, so hopefully I'm playing the right thing because, yeah, I don't have a way to connect speakers right now. So anyways, let's just jump into this. So, there's really just two sections for this song. So it has this beginning part with the verse, and it's got this recurring piano. It's not really a riff, but just kind of almost like an ostinato type thing. And then it goes into the chorus. So we'll start with the verse, and then we'll go from there. So it starts with the C minor. That's the first chord. So that's kind of the riff, and I apologize for my singing there. But like I said, I can't hear it, so singing kind of helps me know what I'm doing. So yeah, we start in C minor. Oddly enough, or interestingly enough, we're not really in the key of C minor. We're in more of a C Phrygian mode. So we're using the A flat scale, but we're starting in a C minor, which is gonna create kind of an interesting sound. And so we just kind of walk down. So our bass walks from C down to B flat, A flat, and then it jumps to F, and then E flat. And our right hand kind of follows that. So we have like an E flat, da, 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 and then an E flat down to D flat, da, 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 D flat down to C, da, 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 C flat, da, down to B flat, da, 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 and then we go G up to A flat. So they kind of walk down together, the bass and the upper part of your right hand. And then, yeah, this riff, it kind of repeats this G. So your thumb can kind of stay on G, your right hand thumb can kind of just stay on G, and it kind of rocks back and forth from the melody going down, and then this G. Da, 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 It's going to be really annoying if I finish this recording and I'm singing all of this out of key, so it sounds like a half step off of everything I'm playing. Hopefully that's not the case. So, anyways, that's kind of the whole verse portion. Now, one thing to think about during this is rhythmically, these chords do what's called an anticipation. So each of these chords actually comes before the beat, before the downbeat of each measure. Now that works really well when there's a beat going on, like in the actual song there's drums playing. If you're playing this as solo piano, it creates a bit of a dilemma, because if everything is off the beat, then nothing is. So if you're playing as the original is, where basically every single chord is coming half a beat before. It's, to the listener, it just sounds like everything is on the beat. So a lot of times what I'll do, even though it's not exactly played like this in the original, if I'm doing solo, I might put the right hand before the beat, but still have the left hand playing on the beat, so that there's that contrast, so you can actually hear that syncopation. So whereas the recording might go more like that, I might move the left hand back to the beat. Or at least move it back to the beat in some places so that our ears kind of still hear where the actual downbeat is, so then the syncopation still has a syncopation effect. So that's just something to think about. It's kind of up to you how you approach that, but I like to kind of keep something hitting the downbeat if I have a series of anticipated notes, or else the anticipation kind of loses itself, I think, at least in terms of solo piano. So anyways, then we go into the next section, the kind of chorus, you might call it. And it's kind of interesting because, yeah, we're in C minor, but not really. And so because we're using the Phrygian, the next portion makes more sense, but it still is kind of an odd sounding thing, because we do this riff and we've been going back to C minor, right? We've been rocking back through C minor over and over again, and then we go to C major, which is definitely a departure from what we're doing, and you can hear it, like it sounds like this odd kind of moment, but it makes a little bit more sense harmonically when you consider that we're using the scale for A flat. So we're in a mode that has 4 flats, and F minor also has 4 flats. So F Aeolian, C Phrygian, and A flat Ionian all use 4 flats. But an F minor scale will oftentimes use an E natural, so that would be a C major. So it kind of has that bit of sense to it, or you could justify it that way, or it just, sounds nice. You don't have to necessarily justify it. So there we go from C, and it's kind of interesting. We do basically a walk down an F, like an F minor 5-finger scale. So the bass is just going to go C, B flat, A flat, G, F, and then our right hand is going to kind of follow that. So you'll have like a C7 or a C major, then it kind of goes to a C7 type of thing, but over B flat, and then like a C augmented, you could call it, or an A flat augmented, however you want to look at it, but it's over an A flat. Then you go down to a C over G, and then you finally hit that F minor. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, because then it keeps walking down, and so you go to this E flat 7. Now interestingly, this is different the second time we go to the chorus. So this piece, or this song, does kind of sound as if the piano is played throughout the whole thing in one take, which, if you're not familiar with how a lot of music production takes place nowadays, that's a little unusual. So usually you might play a chord progression and kind of loop it, and a lot of things might come through the computer, and so yeah, just looping things once you get a good take kind of makes sense to do and saves a little bit of time. But there's slight variations in these piano riffs throughout the whole thing, so it does sound like there was just one recording start to finish, which is a little unusual, I think, especially for this type of song, but it does create some interest throughout. So yeah, it doesn't actually sound like there's a D flat for that 7 most of the other times that we go through the chorus, but the first time there is. So you can do it either way. You can do it just as an E flat and an E flat 7. But then it walks back up to a C major over E, and then it sounds like it should kind of resolve to an F minor, but instead it actually jumps back up to a B flat minor. So it kind of goes to a B flat minor. And then again, kind of one of those interesting things where in later versions of the chorus, it sounds like it's more of a B flat minor with a added sixth, so it sounds like it's got that G in there. But the first time through, it really doesn't. I don't hear a G in it. And then as we walk down, we'll go to an A flat. There's another slight variation where the first time through, it sounds like we have a D flat over A flat. But in later versions, we have that G still there. So the first time we do the chorus, it sounds like this. We're kind of walking down, and you walk down to a C, and then to an F. But in the later one, it sounds like we have this, where we've got this kind of almost E flat 7 or G diminished, however you want to think of it. And then we keep that G there instead of going to an F to create a D flat chord. And so it kind of ends up being like an A flat major 7 sus. It's kind of got a nice sound to it, if I could hear it. And then we go to a C, down to an F. And then after we do that, we keep walking down again. We go to an E flat, and then we go to a D flat. And then here's where it also gets interesting, because that walk down really sounds like it should go to a C major. It's a pretty common chord progression. And we almost get a C major, but it actually just jumps right back to the verse, which gets us back into a C minor. And so it works. So it sounds like we're going to C, and we do, but we go to the minor version, and that jumps us right back into the verse. So it's a kind of clever little way of connecting those two parts that on some level are quite different harmonically, but are also very, very connected. And I think that you hear that, where it doesn't, you can feel this sudden shift in the sound, but it doesn't feel wrong, but it is quite a contrast between the two parts of this song. Yeah, so then it goes through again, and you just verse, chorus, and all that. When you go back to the chorus at the end, it does keep looping that. So that walk down where we go. When we go back up to B flat. Instead of walking down to D flat here, we jump back up again, and it kind of just keeps looping this progression. I hope I'm playing this right. Okay, something like that. It's kind of hard to play without hearing me. So it keeps looping that, and then once you do want to go back into the verse, it does go back down, down, and then the song finishes just doing that. Doing that little riff there. So that's kind of the whole song. hope that was helpful, and I hope you're able to practice this and learn it.